You start your mock, first RC, you read the first line, it feels heavy, you read it again, and again, and again. By the third time, you're not even reading, you're just staring at it, and you're wondering, पढ़ तो रहा हूँ लेकिन कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा है. And it's like your mind kind of short-circuited the moment the timer started. Suddenly, everything you had actually practiced is gone. You cannot even make sense of simple, clear sentences. I've been there. I've cracked CAT, GMAT, CFA all 3 levels in my first attempts while working full-time. I've given enough mocks to have faced this situation countless times. You know, where my brain just kind of froze. So today, no pep talk, just a system to actually bring your brain back online. Picture your attention as a moving spotlight. When your brain is calm, when you are calm, it smoothly glides over. So it goes to the question, it goes to the options, it goes to the section where you're supposed to be, where you're supposed to look at to find the answer, and you start interpreting, you start thinking effortlessly. But when you're panicking, when you're anxious, that spotlight sort of just flips. Instead of pointing at the questions and at what you're actually reading, it sort of just points at you. At that point, you stop reading what's written in front of you, but instead, you start reading into your own fears. That is why even VARC, the first section, collapses. It's not a stamina issue, it's not a conceptual issue. You've done this before. It's simply a misplaced spotlight. So the goal is not to focus harder. You can't do that. The goal is to just realign that spotlight. Ever noticed how when this happens, you suddenly become hyper aware of the timer, of your surroundings, of your heartbeat and breathing? That is the spotlight turning towards you. If that happens to you, comment spotlight down below. Neuroscience actually calls this the amygdala hijack. When the timer starts blinking 1 hour 59 seconds, your brain actually starts reading danger. And the moment that happens, cortisol, the stress hormone, actually spikes. Blood flow kind of leaves your prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of your brain, and rushes to survival circuits that are largely controlled by primordial systems in your brain that don't really rely too much on complex logical thinking. The result is that your brain actually starts getting fuzzier and fuzzier because it actually thinks that you're in a tiger fight. And nothing quite encapsulates the idea as well as Daniel Kahneman, the Nobel Prize-winning behavioral economist. He said that nothing in life is quite as important as you think it is, especially when you're thinking about it. And that is the spotlight effect. That is your brain actually magnifying that moment, and you think that it is actually life and death, when it's clearly not. How do you actually do this? How do you actually re-aim the light? Here is a 3-step protocol to do that quickly. But before that, if you're still here, please like the video, just so YouTube actually fills your feed with more stuff that keeps you calm and helps you succeed. And as a reward, here's a picture of a fluffy doggo. Step 1. 5-second breaths. Before each section, inhale deeply for 5 seconds and exhale for 5 seconds. This is your way of telling your body that we are safe. We are in control. Step 2. Anchor yourself. The moment you find yourself zoning out, you basically tell yourself to come back to reality. So the moment you find yourself stuck on an RC passage, for instance, you tell yourself, just read, actually read the next line. That's it. You don't tell yourself that you have to get through the mock and then you'll be done with it. No, nothing like that. Bite-sized chunks. Just tell yourself 1 line, 1 RC, things like that. That 1 line is actually going to pull you back to reality and re-aim that light. And step 3, to finally lock this in, is of course going to be micro reset. If you blank mid-mock, just stop, take a deep breath. You know, the same thing, 5 seconds inhale, 5 seconds exhale. You basically use that 1 line and then close your eyes or you stretch your arms or something like that. And you get back to figuring out what you need to do next. That's it. You break this fear loop that would have otherwise taken you into a whole internal conversation about self-doubt, about expectations, not meeting them and all that. You break that fear loop the moment you realize what's going on. And that is the key here. Try this once. Try this the next time your brain actually starts feeling fuzzy when you're in the middle of an exam. If focus returned even 10%, then please tell me and the others so they can get some evidence that this actually works. All this sounds very fancy and very good, but real life mein karta hai kya koi aisa? Let's take airlines. Now we all know that most complications occur during takeoff or landing. The industry actually has protocols for pilots to make them hyper aware of their surroundings and, be in a focused state during these 2 things. So airline pilots actually have a protocol of micro resets before landing. Calm is not a luxury. It is a protocol, especially in a high-stakes situation like that. And make no mistake, CAT is a high-stakes situation. Let's take a more relatable example perhaps. Some of you may have watched tennis. Tennis players also use micro resets. I mean, have you seen a pro tennis player actually serves the ball and it falls? What happens next is the micro reset. Now, of course, it does not look like what a micro reset looks like for you. The micro reset for them is to actually bounce the ball a couple of times, and you will see a lot of pro players actually doing some version of this. That is a micro reset. They don't quit the game. They just bounce the ball or walk off or do whatever they have to, whatever gets them in the right mindset to actually be in a winning position for the game. And then they just get back into the game. Same skill, just different mental state. And your CAT exams or your mocks actually work in exactly the same ways. The moment you start that anxiety taking over, that fear kicking in, you know that you have to break that fear loop immediately before you waste more time into it. Because it's not just about time at that point. That fear loop is actually going to start internal discussions that will lead to your confidence going down. That is what actually kills scores. But wait, I haven't even told you about the real danger. Ironically enough, it's not bad performance. The real danger is when anxiety becomes identity. You start saying things like, मुझसे mocks होते ही नहीं है, मुझसे नहीं हो पाएगा यार CAT exam, भी लग तो नहीं रहा. And I know this because a lot of people have told me this in comments on LinkedIn and DMs. Here's the thing, that anxiety is not who you are. It's just a body alarm. Every calm mock that you actually take from here on out is going to rewire that alarm a little bit lower every single time. 10 mocks later, your brain won't just call this a threat. It'll call it routine. And that is exactly what you want. Imagine this. One day you take a mock and you realize that you did not even notice the timer. Your body clock is perfectly tuned to it already. That's not luck. That's rewiring. I think a lot of people actually misunderstand what fear actually is. Fear is not a weakness, it's actually a proof that you do care about the outcome of this exam. Performance anxiety is not failure, it's just energy without direction. Direct the spotlight back to where it needs to be and feel the magic happen for yourself. Because the reality is that you've handled harder things in life than this mock. You just forgot to breathe in this one. If this helped you breathe a little bit easier, please share it with a friend who is stuck right now. And subscribe to the channel, not for motivation, but for mental systems that actually work and help you succeed. Good luck.